What's up, everyone? We've been checking out your comments and questions, and honestly, you've got some pretty intriguing ones. So today we're diving headfirst into the wild world of AI. We're going to be covering everything from the big brain stuff like artificial superintelligence to the fun debates about whether AI could ever be self-aware with emotions, and all the way down to large language models cranking out our creative text. Buckle up and let's get into it. The first question is, can AI find me love? And now I am sincerely sorry to everyone watching this, but I am off the market and have been for over a decade. So I haven't had to wade through whatever modern nightmare the dating world is today. But I remember back in my day, there were dating profiles and responding to and sending messages. So I can't imagine is too much different today. I would guess there are many a Tinder and Hinge bio written by ChatGPT. The messed up part is that I think there's a pretty good chance that the person responding to your AI-generated message is probably also using AI to respond. So at that point, it's just two bots flirting with each other, which is honestly pretty grim. And then there's this other thing. I don't know if anyone's heard of this, but there's this idea of the dead internet theory, where basically every person you think you're talking to online is actually just a generated chatbot. So what if that applies to the dating world? What if all the profiles you're looking at are just bots? My advice, honestly, is use ChatGPT to get directions to the closest bar and have it come up with some sick one-liners and meet someone in real life, please. So this is a really interesting question, pretty timely. So how does AI change the landscape of hacking? We just saw a massive hack using Anthropic's Claude Code. They released this entire paper about it. It was a couple of weeks ago at the time this was filmed, and it was insanely advanced. And if you don't know, Claude Code is a coding agent that lives in your CLI. It's excellent. And they were able to utilize the coding agents to find and attack vulnerabilities. All right, this was done by a nation state, according to the Anthropic paper. I actually interviewed Jen Easterly. She's the former CISA director about this, right? And she made a really haunting point, which I think is very pertinent to bring up, is that we don't necessarily have a cybersecurity problem. We have a software quality problem. And thinking about the way that Claude Code was used in order to find these vulnerabilities, you could see that it's the ultimate tool for exposing that low quality. So now, defenders must be aware of this, but they also must be prepared for the unexpected. They have to be really, really creative about how they think the attackers will attack. Another thing is, it used to be that to pull off a nation state level hack, you needed a team of, elite engineers. But now you have what I think of as the democratization of hacking, right? You have these tools that are so powerful and they're not necessarily difficult to use, right? Agents aren't particularly hard to write and hard to get to do what you want them to do. And so bad actors, even ones without like a high level of coding skills, they can spin up these autonomous agents that scan for vulnerabilities. These agents can write exploit code and they can execute the attack 24/7. It really, really changes what the game used to be, which was human versus human, to now I think it's just going to be my AI defense versus your AI offense. So we got this question: which LLM are you using for creative text generation? And for creative writing, I'm not using anything. I'm not a particularly creative writer, nor do I need to be. Unless we call work emails and calendar invite messages creative writing, then I can say I use Copilot. I guess I have to be pretty creative when I come up with a reason why I can't join a 5 p.m. call on Friday. But seriously, I'm a musician and I've been playing and writing music for decades. And there's this music generation model that I heard of. And I went in there thinking, well, obviously I will instantly be able to tell that this stuff is trash. And it wasn't. And I was genuinely shocked. I was shocked by how interesting it was, by the melody choices. Like, you could still tell, like, the instrumentation, like the actual sound of the instrumentation, the actual sound of the vocals weren't great, but the songwriting was good. It was excellent. But I think the real question is whether these probabilistic models can truly be creative, or if they're just really good at remixing patterns. And then, of course, it comes down to, Is human creativity really anything different than that? So I'm still trying to figure that out with the music generation, but I think for creativity and AI generated creativity, the jury's still out. So we got a question here. Can machine learning be done locally or only in high-tech environments? So I think you're probably talking about, can you run an AI model locally? And to answer your question, yes, you can. I do. I do a lot. I have a couple of computers at home. One's a server that has an RTX 3090, which is pretty good, but I did get an RTX 5090, and I had an alert to when it came available, and I bought it. So there's something called Ollama, and it's amazing, right? It's super easy to use. You can think of it like Docker for LLMs, right? They have a library where they have the most popular trending models that you can just pull down to your machine, and you just run them locally. Like you could pick up Llama, Mistral, DeepSeek, anything. It's just super easy to use. But talking about like hardware, now you're not going to be running this on like my old Lenovo X220. It's just not going to work, and you're probably not going to be able to run those 400 billion parameter models locally. But for like 7 billion, 13 billion, and like even 70 billion models, it's totally doable. But anyone who has the capability to do it, try it out. It's super fun. It is super, super easy to do. And I really recommend it. All right, so we got a question. Is Ollama a good choice for production environment? I love Ollama. I really do. It's the gold standard for local development. It's great for prototyping. It's great for messing around. But for production, no, I wouldn't use it in production. It's not really built for scale, right? Like Ollama queues your requests, one by one mostly. And if you put that on a public website and 50 people try to use it at once, it's probably going to choke. So if you want to go to production, you'd probably want to do something with an industrial grade inference engine, right? You want to use something like VLLM. The VLLM is really designed to handle these continuous batching, and it can basically answer hundreds of people at the same time, and it's really efficient. My suggestion is you use Ollama to build your idea, right? Have it on your computer, test it out, prototype it, and then use VLLM to serve the idea to people. If you're going to go to production, I wouldn't use Ollama. So we have a question. MCP versus API versus 8A, what's the difference? I think this is the perfect way to look at this tech stack, right? You have an API, and this is the foundation, right? Your app talks to a server, it's reliable, it's rigid. You have to write custom code for every single tool you want to connect, endpoints and logic. It's all manual, but it's the way it's been done forever. MCP is really great. This is Anthropic's, and actually now they open source it to the Linux Foundation, which is very, very cool. It's called Model Context Protocol. So try to think of this like a USB for AI. Before USB in the Stone Age, when I grew up, you needed a different port for your keyboard and a different port for your mouse and another one for your printer. MCP does that for AI tools, right? It's like a USB for AI tools. Anthropic launched this, and literally a week later, there were thousands of MCP servers. So now like your AI agents can just plug into Google Drive or Slack or Postgres without writing any custom glue code. One server. With this protocol, you tell your agents all the tools they have access to in a way that the agent will be able to use it, and it just works. And finally, A2A. So this is agent to agent. So this isn't an agent just talking to a tool or a server of tools like MCP. It's an AI agent talking to another AI agent. So they can negotiate, right? You have agent A saying, I need to build code. And agent B says, well, I wrote it. It has a bug. And then agent C says, well, I fixed the bug. They kind of form their own workflows without you in the middle. It's pretty amazing. My suggestion to anyone listening is just write a simple Express or Fast API server with like one endpoint with one tool, or maybe two endpoints with two tools. Wrap that in MCP server. Write a couple of agents. Using boilerplate. All this stuff is just boilerplate code you can find online, and then connect those with A2A and just have it do something you want it to do, like just play with it. And I really think you'll learn more in an afternoon than reading the docs for a week, right? It's when you build this stuff, you'll really see the way that it works. And I think that's really, really cool. Everything's so easy for us to learn at this point with like YouTube, and anything you find online. So yeah, my suggestion, just build it. Got questions? Drop them in the comments, whether it's a deep dive into a framework, a hot take on an architecture decision, or one of those 2 a.m. philosophical rabbit holes about the nature of software. We want to hear it. And if something we said sparked an idea and you went and built something cool, tell us about that too. We'll read them and it may be featured in a future video.